Could you introduce yourselves and tell us what you do?
Hello, we are eTEU. We're building a blockchain-based platform to provide and facilitate paperless trade, to improve efficiency of the supply chain and decrease costs for freight shippers and freight forwarders.
So what is all your background?
So we have quite wide background. Mainly it's either in technology or in international trade and maritime logistics.
What does blockchain bring you that you couldn't otherwise do?
I think the most important benefit of using blockchain for us is ensuring security and independence of the platform. Because we're working with international trade, where question of trusting the platform was one of the most important roadblocks for adoption of unified technological solutions, which kept the international logistics industry kind of lagging behind on technological adoption for a number of years.
Okay, so how do you imagine, you're building a software system, how do you imagine that being used in the space of freight?
At the moment the process is very complex, so you would have multiple stakeholders for one cargo shipment. Right. And as a result, you have numerous documents that flow through the value chain. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to digitalize that and automate it. So you'll have a frictionless flow of goods and services. So as part of a logistics supply chain, you have the physical movement of goods, the transfer of money and information. Now information capture is very poorly done, but our platform will allow it to be harmonized in one seamless, literally, digital platform.
So who owns the platform in this?
So the great benefit of our platform is that we are staying market neutral. Unlike some other players that are trying to integrate a similar system, for example, the Maersk or other players, we are not trying to create a platform where we're going to collect all the data and trade it off. All the data that comes in, we don't even have an access to it, and that's the great benefit of using blockchain.
So you mean it's all you can't read it?
Absolutely.
So we can't read it, it's tamper-proof. That's a benefit of pretty much using blockchain. We're also not competing with any of the existing players in the market. That's also one of the roadblocks many players who try to implement similar solutions in the market faced. We're just kind of augmenting and supplementing their capabilities without competing with them.
So you imagine being a service provider rather than a software vendor. You'd have the blockchain, and rather than give it to a freight company. So is that right?
Yeah, we're kind of acting as a software provider. Similarly, let's say like a DocuSign or Google Docs will work. We're built on top of the Cadre core protocol. Okay. So yeah. Yeah,
so we're infrastructure. So we provide infrastructure for small and medium-sized enterprises to use our platform. So their data flow, as we said, goes through like a pipeline. So we're the pipeline. At the moment, it's like moving water in buckets, which are data silos. Yeah. So there's information captured in each bucket. Right. However, we are now creating a digital pipeline, so all of that will be done much easier, much cheaper, and much more efficient.
What do people do now? What does it look like now?
That's a great question. So right now, in order to make one bill of lading and transfer the container from one place to another, you need to make a bunch of calls, a number of emails, 12 emails. It takes days and days and days. With that platform, it can just take...
Right, okay.
So pretty much at the moment, most processes in international trade are paper-based. So over 80% of documentation is done pretty much in a paper form to prevent forgery and double spending.
It's staggering, really. Yes?
To be honest, yeah, we're kind of, we like to say that we're solving a 1,000-year-old problem because it's been like that pretty much since the paper was invented.
Right, okay.
And we're kind of digitalizing this paper-based documents.
How do you stop the double spending? What's the proof of work?
So it's we don't really have a proof of work protocol in here because we're using a permissioned blockchain. Right. As I mentioned, we're built on top of Cadre, so we're not a global network where there's no mining, there's no proof of stake. Pretty much, we're supported by a rather closed system. It's also a benefit of security with this because you don't really want your competitors or anyone else to see with whom you are trading and what are you doing. So we're rather a more closed system, which on its technological background prevents the pretty much problem of double spending.
And the unique element of blockchain, which why we're literally using the tech, is that in shipping we have this issue where each bill of lading there will be one original, or literally 3 originals that are floating around.
Right.
But literally the person who shows up with the first original, the carrier delivers the cargo. If you just copy that document and have a digital form, then it can be 500 bills of ladings being reproduced.
Yes.
And as a result, you have someone will be tempted
Yes.
fraudulently to sell the
Yes.
cargo multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
But because of blockchain, that immutability and that unique,
Okay.
let's say, hashgraph that's attached to
Right.
each cargo shipment prevents this from happening. So it will
Okay.
greatly reduce the elements of fraud when you go to digital
Mhm.
format.
Okay, that's great. And so where are you? Where's your company now?
So at the moment we're finishing up development of the working prototype of the solution. We're currently part of StateZero Labs accelerator here in London, and we aim to present and do the live demo of our platform during the demo day on 11th of April.
Okay. Any last words you want to say about what you're doing and how and blockchain in the future for freight trading?
I think the good perspective is going to be to give some numbers around the problem we are solving. So actual cost of documentation and administration is up to 30% of actual cost of the shipping. That's the fact that a lot of people don't know, which costs shippers around the world nearly $300 billion every year.
So what do you think you're going to bring that down to, that 30%?
With digitalizing, well, obviously won't be able to digitalize everything straight away, but if it is going to happen, it is possible to bring down the cost of documentation administration up to 70%, which is more than $200 billion every year. So
Right.
that perspective...
70% of the 30% you're going to save.
Yeah.
Okay, well thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.